Hi guys, it's Steve from Extreme Car Cleaning, and I had somebody comment on my last video I put out, and they asked me when they're going to see me actually detailing a car. So I figured, okay, it's been a while. I do have videos up showing me how I do different detailing, but I figured, you know what, it's time. I'll do a full detail. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this up into mini clips so that you don't have to sit there and watch me for 6 hours straight. You know, once you get the gist of it, you know, that's it. So I'll break it up into little sections, okay? The first thing we do on all vehicles is we do the channel in the trunk, okay, the underneath of the trunk, and all inside here. Now you can see that I pulled out the liner. We take the liner out, bring it over to the table there, set it up, and then we do that, and it's a lot easier. It's, you know, so much easier because that way there, we go inside here, we just blow everything down to the bottom, vacuum it all out, and then once we're done cleaning the trunk liner, we insert it back in the vehicle, put everything in the vehicle that needs to go in it, okay, make sure everything's in the trunk that belongs to the car, or truck, or van, or SUV, whatever we're working on. Okay, we make sure the whole back section is clean, close the trunk, and then that area is done. Now, at the end of our service, okay, when we're doing our inspection, we open the trunk, we check the channel in here in case any debris or anything got washed down into there, or there's any polishing compound, we make sure that's all gone, okay? Other than that, that's it. Well, once we close this trunk, okay, the only time we open it again is during our inspection, all right? That way there, this doesn't get missed. Everything is loaded in the customer's vehicle, none of their stuff goes missing, and when the service is done, it's done. If we're doing a complete detail and it includes an engine shampoo, then we do the engine first. If this car was coming in for a full detail with an engine shampoo, we would do the engine shampoo first, okay? Then what we do is we do all the underneath, all the engine compartment, close the hood, and then we do not open the hood again until our final inspection. And during that, same as the trunk. We'll open the hood, we'll check for any compound, anything that got washed in there during the cleaning process, all right, and then we'll deal with it then, make sure that it's all clean and good to go, okay? That way we don't forget to do the engine. Guys, this time I've got some fabric mats, okay? These have been covered up with Husky mats, just like WeatherTech, okay? Heavy rubber mats. So it's not that dirty, but it does need to be clean. So if I'm doing a light cleaning, this is how I go about doing it, okay? I take my mat, take my Masterson Super Cleaner, spray it down. Now I'm going to grab my steamer, I'm going to loosen up the dirt that's on there, and then we're going to blow this out with a chemical gun, the Tornado, and we're going to go over it with the air gun to get all the water out of it, okay? Now the reason I'm using the steamer is, okay, by heating up the chemicals in the mat, it actually helps it clean it a lot better, okay? It'll break down anything that might be stuck in there, gum, whatever. You want to go over this mat really well, okay? Take your time. You want to loosen up any grease or oil that might have got into the mat. And like I said before, it's not that dirty. Now the trick here is to start at the top, work your way down, then you're blowing any of the sand and dirt down and out of the mat. Now you can't shut the valve off on this Tornado gun and use the air, okay, but I prefer to just use my Typhoon gun. Okay, it moves a lot more air than the Tornado gun, and it seems to get a lot drier. To make sure that I've got everything off the surface of the fiber, what I do is I take my microfiber and I just go over the mat just just to pick up anything that may be on the mat itself. Okay. Remember guys, this mat was relatively clean. Okay, if this thing was soiled and packed full of mud and sand, what I would have done first was I would have power washed this first, right here. I would have rinsed most of the stuff out, then I would have gone, cleaned it, brought it back, gone through it again to get everything down and out. You want to try and keep your mats as dry as possible when you're cleaning them. If you have to resort to blowing out mud and sand, it's okay to get them wet, but it's going to take you longer to get them dry, because the one thing you want is you want this to be absolutely dry when you put it back in the customer's car. Okay, so that covers the fabric mats. Just repeat the same thing for all the mats inside the vehicle. You're good to go. For the vinyl mats, what I use is the Masterson Super Clean. If you use a regular APC, all-purpose cleaner, it may not get the stains out of the mat. So you want to use something a little heavier, okay? Now this one I've cut 1 to 4. The reason I did that is because it gives me enough strength that it'll take any grease or oil off of here. The driver's mat, of course, is always the dirtiest. But you just repeat the same process for all 4 mats. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my McCalla 1385 steamer. You don't have to get a McCalla, you can use a Harbor Freight, whatever you want to use. But I find when I use the steam with the chemical, it cleans it a lot better, okay? Now the most important part about this is the time. Take your time so that the steam has time to work away at the grease and oil that's in the mat to help loosen up and pull it out. Okay, you don't have to scrub this super hard because the steam and the chemical are going to do all the work for you. Now this here is the Adams Power Washer, alright? Now the reason I picked this machine, and I've used a lot of different machines, this machine solves a lot of problems for me. It's got a 35-foot cord, okay? I can take the wand off and just use the tip right on the end of the gun. Okay, it makes life a lot easier. There's a lot of different options you have with this. Now, I have a shop at home, so there's a lot of times I get into tight areas that this helps. Okay, I don't have room to have the wand on here and try and clean the tires on the other side because I'm right up against the wall. So with this, it opens up a lot of options for me. I can get right in the wheel well, nice and easy. It comes with 4 different tips, clicks right on any foam cannon, and these are all commercial rated fittings. These are really tough fittings on this machine. I'm very, very impressed. 2,500 PSI on the machine. This is more than enough. I mean, if you're cleaning cars, fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to blow this dry. Okay guys, this is the trunk liner out of the Super Bee that I'm working on. Now, what I want to do first is I want to spray this down with fabric softener. Now it's cut 4 to 1. The reason I'm doing this, okay, is I want to kill the static on anything that's clinging on to the fabric, and at the same time I want to loosen up the fibers in the fabric so that it'll release anything that's in there. Okay, little pieces of lawn trimmings, sand, dirt, any little stuff that's stuck in there. This will help. It'll kill the static on that and it'll loosen up the fiber so it's a lot easier to get that out. Now, we're going to let that sit for 15 minutes and then we're going to hit it with the tornado gun. If there's any stains that I see in the carpet, there's a couple little ones. I'm going to hit those with the steamer. That way there it'll break it down and help get them out, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit those little spots with the steamer first. Then I'm going to go through with my tornado gun from top to bottom and rinse all this stuff out. Okay, it's been 15 minutes now. Now the the fabric softener, I learned about that from two different people, Scott Blay, and I also learned that from Darren Priest as well, from watching their videos. That's why I always say it's so important to reach out and learn from the guys that have been doing this for a long time. That's where I learned it from. And in the last 5 years, I've learned a lot of stuff. So thank you very much, guys, for putting your stuff out there and sharing your information, because it makes life a lot easier for all of us. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've got a couple of stains in here. I know they may be hard to see on the camera, but I can see them because I'm up close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit those with my steamer. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit these stains with my steamer. It's a McCullough 1385. You don't have to get this machine necessarily, but I found this one works. This is my third machine I bought. The first one lasted me about 3 years. They're not commercial rated, but they do work well. I mean, I use it every single day, and for a machine like this to last me for 3 years, that's pretty good. So anyways, that's my favorite, and that's what I use. So you just want to go over your stained areas. Okay. Now, just like we did with the floor mats, what we want to do is we want to break down the grease and oil so that when I hit it with the tornado gun, everything will come out all in one shot. Then we're just going to take a microfiber after and we're going to wipe it off just to get any surface staining off of there that might still be on there. Okay, now I've hit the worst of the stains. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one quick pass over the whole thing with the steamer, just in case there's anything there that I didn't see. I just want to make sure I break down everything that's there so that I get all of it to come out when I hit it with the tornado gun. Okay, now these are my snap-on headlamps. Okay, they're really good because you can put them on, and when you're working inside the car, you just have to look in that direction and they follow. You can wear them on your head, or you can just put them on your neck. Okay, I like to use them in my hand a lot of times as well. So what you want to do is you just want to check it over and make sure that you've got all your heavy staining out. Okay, just to make sure that that's all gone. And it's looking pretty good. I don't see any heavy staining in there at all anymore. Even the little oil spots that were on there are gone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chemical gun, my tornado. I'm going to start at the top, work all the way to the bottom. Whether you're doing floor mats, or you're doing seats, or you're doing your trunk liner, you always want to put your gun on a bit of an angle downwards, so that way when you're aiming it down, you're blowing dirt and debris down the fabric as you're going. Makes your life a lot easier. Okay, now we're going to dry this. So you've got a couple options here. If you want, you can use your tornado gun. You can turn off the valve, and you can use your tornado gun to blow it down, or you can use your air gun. Now, this is a Typhoon gun. I got this through Snap-on. Okay, it moves a lot of air. There's little perforations all the way around this nozzle here, so it moves a lot of air. And the one thing I like about this is I'm not getting the moisture from the chemicals in the gun as well. I'm just going to take my microfiber and I'm going to wipe this down just in case there's any surface staining that's still there. I want to make sure I wipe that off. And I always check my microfiber to see how dirty it is. If I notice there's a heavy stain on here, then I may have to touch it up. Because this trunk liner was not that dirty, I decided to use the tornado gun and the steamer and the fabric softener to clean this up. And it turned out really nice. It's very nice and clean. I hope you guys can see this in the video. Okay? You can always use the extractor. Whenever the vehicle is filthy dirty, then I would suggest using the extractor, but I try to clean most of my vehicle using the chemical gun and the steamer because it doesn't get it as wet. Now, when we're doing the seats inside the vehicle, you have to be careful because the extractor can soak the seats, and there's sensors in the two front seats for your airbags on most of the vehicles today. So you want to be very careful not to saturate that. That's why I try and clean it as lightly as possible. Now you're probably saying to yourself, well, that takes a long time, I could do it a lot quicker. Yes, you can do it quicker. Now I charge a premium price to clean like this. It's very cost effective for me because I'm charging the customer for it, because they don't want this soaking wet. I could have just power washed this. I've seen guys do other things to get these clean. You know what? I'd rather not. I'd rather go and take a little bit longer time, be more delicate with it, because some of the older vehicles, this will start to lift, it might come off. Okay, the glue is only so strong, and most of these are just on top of cardboard. So you don't want to soak the cardboard as well. The materials they make these out of for the liners are very, very cheap. So like I said, you want to be as gentle as possible with it, but you do want to charge the customer for your time. So that's what I found. I found that most of my customers that I deal with, they don't mind paying for extra time if they're receiving a professional, delicate service. All right? So that covers the trunk liner. Okay guys, normally I clean the vehicle from where the camera's at, but you guys wouldn't see anything except my back. So I'm gonna clean it from this angle so you guys can see what I'm actually doing. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Typhoon gun here and I'm gonna blow out everything I possibly can down to the floor and then out to the front of the car. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to blow the heaviest stuff forward so that when I go through with my chemical gun after and my steamer, most of that heavy stuff is already gone so that I'm not blowing it all over the car again. Now I'm going to blow all this up to the front and then I'm going to vacuum it. Now I'm just going to cover this with you. In my shop, we never ever stick our hands underneath the seat, and the reason is because I've been poked numerous times by wires and stuff hanging underneath the seat, different stuff that was left under the seat that's poked me in the hands when I first started doing this. So the rule here is we do not put our hands under the seat. It's okay to put the air gun underneath there, the tip of the tornado gun, the vacuum cleaner, that's fine. Put that underneath the seat, but we never ever put our hand anywhere where we can't see what's there. So as a rule here, we only go so far with the gun. We back the seat all the way back, and then we vacuum and clean from there. All right, guys, now I'm gonna work inside the trunk. I'm gonna clean all this area up. Now, if you can see this, I hope, I put down an old drying towel I had, okay, to protect my bumper so that I don't scratch it when I'm vacuuming or using the air line. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna blow all this down, blow out the channel, blow all the insides down to the bottom, and then I'm gonna vacuum all this up, okay? Okay, so when you're doing the trunk, the most important thing is you need a lot of light, okay? I've got actually 3 different sets of lights here. I've got my overhead light, I've got my snap-on hanging light, okay, so I can spin it around and look and check everywhere inside, and I've got my headlamps on as well. The headlamps are nice because a lot of times when I bend over and I look inside the car, the light's right where I need it to be. So now I'm going to turn on my vacuum. Now my vacuum's actually connected to a smart switch. They come in very handy for turning on appliances that you don't have to walk over to turn them on and off all the time. Okay, and that takes care of our trunk. I'm just going to wipe this lip out, and then it's all good to close up. Okay, I'm just going to use my microfiber here. Wipe off any excess that's left. Check it, make sure there's no dirt and oil in there. Make sure I got everything. If this channel was really nasty, I would have got in there with the steamer and hit it with the steamer as well. But this is not a daily driver. This never goes out to Scott's work site. Scott is actually my heating and cooling guy. So his work truck is a different animal. I mean, I do his work truck too, and his work truck needs a lot more TLC than this vehicle does. This one stays pretty clean. Just a general cleaning on this one. Takes very good care of his car. He just likes me to freshen it up for him once a year. So we're all set in there for now. I'm just going to reinsert the trunk liner, and then we'll carry on with the inside of the vehicle. Okay, I've got my trunk liner in. I've got the personal items put back in the vehicle. So the only time I'm going to open this after I close it is at the end, after we wash it and do all the work we have to on the exterior. We're just going to check in this channel, make sure there's no leaves, debris, dirt, any compound might have got in there. We're going to make sure that's all wiped out, and that's it. So this trunk is finished. This part of the deck a lot of times never gets cleaned. So when you're going through and you're doing your chemical cleaning, or you're steaming it, or you're wiping it down, you want to make sure you clean this panel. I get a lot of vehicles that come to me, and they're smokers' vehicles that have been previously detailed that still smell, and this is just saturated with nicotine. So it's so important that you clean every crease and crevice back here, anywhere that you can open up. Get all the nicotine off if there is any, or any other grease, oil, grime that might be on there. You want to make sure this is totally clean. All right, even in the channels in here, you want to make sure all that's wiped down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from here, go through to the front, and then I'm going to focus on the driver's section. I'm going to show you guys how to do the driver's section, because the rest of the vehicle is not going to be that dirty, so it would be a waste of my time to go through and chemical clean the entire thing in front of the camera. Most of you guys know how to do that. On most vehicles that we're dealing with, the driver's section is the dirtiest. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this interior video is I'm going to work on the driver's section. I'm going to concentrate on that. I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks to get that section clean. That way there you guys will know exactly what we're doing in our shop that got us noticed. And hopefully these tips will help you guys so you guys can up your game. Now I strongly recommend that you reach out to the icons that I learned from, watch their videos and learn. That's how I upped my game in my shop, was I took an amalgamation of tips and tricks that I learned and made it my own. So that's what you guys need to do as well. Get as much information as you can. Find out what works best for you and apply it. And you'll find that you'll cut your times down. You'll get your routines down. And you're not going to miss stuff. And the product that you produce is going to be a lot better. All right? So now we'll carry on with the driver's section. Okay guys, for my interior, and I'm going to show you the driver's seat, but they're all pretty much done the exact same way. What I do is I start at the top and I work my way to the bottom. Okay, I'm going to start off with the chemical gun, and then I'm going to use the steamer where I need it, okay? I've already done the back of the seat, so I just have the front left to do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit this with the steamer. And then I'm going to give it a wipe down with the other microfiber. And you want to be super careful not to get this too hot, because you don't want to damage anything, okay? For my headliner, I use Masterson Super Cleaner. I spray it onto a bug pad. I just gently put enough pressure on there that it's making contact, and then I'll wipe it up afterwards with my microfiber. That way there, I'm lightly cleaning it. If there's any spots that are really bad, where there's a grease stain or something in there, then what I will do is I will spray the super cleaner right onto a toothbrush, and then I will gently rub at it, okay? The headliners are very delicate. You don't want to get them soaking wet, because there is glue in there holding it in, and if you release the glue, the whole ceiling thing will start falling down all over the place. So you have to be very delicate with it. So if you do that, this one was spotless. Scott doesn't smoke. The headliner is very clean in this. So what I'm going to do with this one here, just to freshen it, is I'm going to take my microfiber, take a little bit of detail spray, and I'm just going to wipe that ceiling. Okay, just in case there happens to be a little bit of something there, but it's spotless. What I did with the top of the seat, you want to continue on going through the vehicle. You want to do the bottom of the seat the exact same way, and all the other seats in the vehicle. We use the same process for doing the door panels. I just go over it with a chemical gun first, and then I hit any areas that are dirty with the steamer. Make sure you avoid all the electronics. I stay right away from the switches, and I clean those by hand. I just use a very fine, soft dusting brush, and I just dust them out. Or I'll get in there with a microfiber. I'll just dampen a corner, and I'll get in there and I'll just wipe it out gently. You don't ever want to use the chemical gun directly on the switches or the steamer directly on the switches, because there's a lot of components in there. You get moisture in there, they could fail, and then your switches will no longer work. Okay? You want to be very careful with that.